Need to do it like that. Hello and good evening. Welcome to you all. Sorry if I look a bit ghostly. Ooh, woo. It looks like I've been the ghost in the day today. I'm Casper the Ghost by the look of it. Anyway, good evening and hello. I don't know if anyone's there. There's anyone coming in yet. We are 2 minutes early. So I will just keep chatting away until anybody appears. If anybody appears, it would be very, very nice to have you here. There's two of you at least. There's one like. Good evening to Keely. Lady Men says good evening to Keely. Keely. Keely, yes. Hello, Keely. Where are you from, Keely? And good evening to Chris Wilson. Good evening to you. Cheers and best wishes. Thank you for joining us. Here we are from windy Saint-Tropez. It's been a very windy day here today. Keely says, hello to Lady Min. You're in Brentwood in Essex. Well, good evening to Keely in Brentwood, Essex. Louise Conroy, welcome. Hello. And there's more and more of you coming in. There's 13 of you, 14 of you. Some likes. Thank you very much for your kind participation. It's great to have you all with us. And yes, we'll wait for a few more people to come in before we begin with some topics. So if any of you have any questions for me in the meantime, you're very welcome to ask some questions. You say I'm sounding fresh and happy. Yes, I am. I'm doing perfectly fine. I'm absolutely tip top. So it's great to be with you. Hello. There we go. It's lovely to have your great company, Diana and Paula. Thank you. Lovely to have you join us and everyone else. There we are. So if any of you have any questions whilst we start, Marianne, welcome. Hello, Marianne. Right. There's lots and lots of you coming in, though many of you don't say anything, but I know many of you like to just listen. So fair enough. That's perfectly fine. Anyway, here we are. Happy days. What is another funny, strange day it's been. Marianne says hello to Lady Min. Marianne.
Hello, Marianne.
She says hello back to you. Have we been cruising? No, we haven't been out on a boat today, and we're not doing the other kind of cruising. No, that's not my kind of activity. So there we go. Have we been on a boat? No, we haven't. User CW says hello from Georgia, USA. Well, we welcome the wonderful long distance viewers from Georgia, USA. Lovely to have you with us. I don't think I've ever been to Georgia, but it'd be nice to go there one day, perhaps. Hello from Leicester, says Marianne. Well, hello to people in Leicester. You have a great type of cheese, the red Leicester, don't you? I don't know what else goes on in Leicester, but I think your cheese is lovely. So there we go. Right. Stevie D says hello to Lady Men. Stevie D, regular Stevie D. We love you, Stevie D. You're a fantastic supporter of this channel. Absolutely wonderful to have you with us. So there's quite a few of you here now. There's a few more to wait for. We're just starting. It's only 1 minute past 8 in France. It's 1 minute past 7 in England. So we'll wait a few more minutes before we start with the topics. But if you have any questions, please ask away. You know, you can ask away in the meantime, because I think that's perhaps the easiest thing to do at the start of this program, is to give some people an opportunity to ask a few things whilst we wait for all the others, because now there's over 50 of you here. So, you know, there's more of you coming in all the time. So we better wait, because people do tend to arrive late. So questions, please ask some questions. How is Lady Min keeping? Today she's doing very well. She's on the Coca-Cola. She's been doing very well on the Coca-Cola, having a lovely time on the Coca-Cola. And yes, we've been to a little village called Cogolan, and we had a little wander around Cogolan and visited a bank. curious things to do, but there we go. Mary Page is sending love from Liverpool, as always. Well, thank you to Mary Page. What did we have for dinner? I just had a bowl of pasta. And before that, earlier on, I had a lovely veal escalope. Thank you. We did have a nice lunch. Yes. Hello from Uranus, says Freedom Rights Lies. Right. Okay. Okay. Have we cooked asparagus? No, we haven't cooked that yet. No. The smell of it in the fridge is getting a little bit overpowering, so it does need to be dealt with. Yes. That is one thing that needs to be dealt with in this establishment. So there we go. Right. So now we've got over 50 of you here. Very, very nice of you to all arrive. I say cheers to you and cheers to me and cheers to me if we disagree. But very much welcome. Thank you. Mr. Lee Kicker says Bennett. I think you're probably right, Mr. Lee Kicker, at this stage in the game. Good evening from Kent, says JW. Well, where are you in Kent, JW? If you're in Broadstairs, please go and say hello to everybody in the Magnet. But Kent is one of the biggest counties in Britain, so you could be anywhere. Kent is an absolutely huge place. It's not just the Isle of Thanet, which means the Isle of the Dead. There are huge volumes of places in Kent. So there we are. You're in Rochester. Well, another Dickensian town, an absolutely fascinating place. Never been there, but I've been past it on the train, but that's all I could say. So one day I hope to come and visit Rochester. And a friend of mine has a cheese shop in Rochester, who also has a home in Broadstairs. So it'd be very nice to come and pay you a visit and maybe visit you in the cheese shop. And I believe it has a bar too, and he serves a huge selection of gin. So I'd very much like to come and pay a visit. So there we go. What tipple do I have tonight? Sadly, in front of me just now is only white wine. Not that it's a bad thing to only have white wine, but I'd love to have a gin and tonic, but I haven't had a gin and tonic today. But never mind, I'll have a gin and tonic tomorrow. So it doesn't really matter. You don't have to. I've had mostly had water today. I've had a lot of water and a lot of Coca-Cola, to be honest, because we've decided that's one thing that might be a good idea. So there we go. Right. Okay. Next question. Right. Come on, more questions, please. We've got plenty of you here now, but before we begin, you haven't been smoking, says Amanda. Amanda Roberts. Hello, Amanda. Lovely to hear from you, Amanda. You're day 3 with no smoking. You've been trying to stop for ages. You've beaten the crazy habit. Well done to you. We salute you. Coca-Cola makes you fat too quickly, says Mr. Lee Kicker. Well, Coca-Cola it's not a very good thing to really consume because it's full of God knows what kind of chemicals. You're better off with apple juice, but you're better off with water, frankly. But there we go. Greetings to everyone from Cambridge. Well, I love Cambridge, as everyone knows. Cambridge is one of my favorite places. Absolutely beautiful city, one of the best on the planet. Lovely. The spires of Cambridge and Oxford are wonderful. Absolutely fantastic place. What is my opinion on the BBC? Well, my friend Christine Hamilton calls them buggers broadcasting communism. And I'm going to come to the BBC shortly because I've just been listening to a program called Heresy. Right, I will begin. Heresy is a little show by Victoria Coren Mitchell, created by David Badiel. The name Badiel, Bad, is definitely what sums him up. It was just on Radio 4 for the last half an hour. I have never come across such a left-wing diatribe in my entire life. absolutely appalling. So thank you for your question, Steve Henton. Thank you. Because I think that, this program with Sir Grayson Perry, that bloody Potter, the mad Potter, and I've met Grayson Perry on a number of occasions. Grayson Perry is sometimes a man and sometimes a woman. So, well, we have to be tolerant and we're not allowed to share a view of whether that's acceptable or not. I say be whatever you want to be, but just don't ram it down other people's throats. Someone called Desiree Dutch, never heard of them, and Ben Elton, the reliable left-wing firebrand pain in the bloody arse. Ben Elton. This program was lefty lunacy. And the worst of them was this Grayson Perry. I was sat next to Vivienne Westwood climbing the social ladder, was one of their lines. Vivienne Westwood, another lefty tax dodger who happened to base her business in Luxembourg, so she didn't pay any tax. She's another scam bag who was an absolute horror. I cannot stand Vivienne Westwood and the way that Vivienne Westwood was such a hypocrite. She was so left-wing and busybody-ish and interfering in other people's lives. But when it came to her own money, she piled it into Luxembourg, so she didn't have to pay tax. Yeah, what a great kind of socialist that is. The champagne socialist. I cannot stand the cartoon character champagne socialists. And Vivienne Westwood was one of the very worst of those. So shame on her, and shame on Radio 4 for having this program called Heresy. They call it high and low culture that they examine. No, they're just a bunch of champagne socialists who think that they can live in Hampstead and have a lovely life, but everybody else has to live a different kind of life. And they don't like people who are actually genuinely successful. So up yours to Victoria Coren Mitchell and her stupid bloody program, Heresy. She's the heretic. She's awful. She's an absolute pain in the bloody arse. Ghastly. So there's my rant for the day. Rant over. Me and my friend Peter Blexley, who we like to, he has his plank of they have the plank of the week on Talk TV. I've got my rant of the day. I just really get very upset by this. And I'll now come to the next topic, which is Tamara Ecclestone and the Sloth. I haven't done my petition yet, but I will be doing a petition. Not about Tamara Ecclestone, because Tamara Ecclestone isn't the focus. The focus of the petition will be just like I did with Merrilies Van der Meer, a woman whose husband paid for her to shoot a giraffe for Valentine's Day. Shame on him. Shame on her. Shame on disgusting thing that she did, and that awful Larissa Switlick who went around killing goats and elephants and sheep and every other kind of anything she could possibly shoot with or maim or harm. I want to keep bringing sloths into people's homes and banned. A sloth is a solitary creature that should be left alone in the rainforest. Leave the sloth alone. So that will be what my petition is going to be about, and I will get on with it. I'm going to do that tomorrow morning. Before I do anything else tomorrow morning, no one is going to stop me doing it. We've got all sorts of things going on tomorrow, but I will be making a petition because I want sloths being banned from being brought into people's homes. They should not be taken into air-conditioned mansions in Kensington owned by Tamara Ecclestone. Tamara Ecclestone is just a prat. She's a complete pain in the bum as well. Another one. I really don't think it's a nice thing to do to abuse a sloth. A sloth is a solitary creature. It does not want to be near human beings. And she did wrong. You'll definitely sign it. Well, I'd like you all to share it. I'd like you to share it widely. And there will be a picture of Tamara Ecclestone and the Sloth, because obviously that's where the problem comes from, is Tamara Ecclestone taking this into the house. It is absolutely revolting what she did. Her children should not have a sloth, a wild rainforest creature, as a plaything. If they want a creature, and we're going to come to a creature that I actually was very interested in, a very expensive dog. Get a dog, get a cat, get a rabbit, get a hamster, get a parrot. Even though I don't think you really should keep birds in cages. I don't like birds being kept in cages either. That upsets me beyond belief. The keeping of animals in cages, to me, is absolutely unacceptable. I'm not a fan of this. I grew up in the countryside. I have spent my life, I go shooting, I go fishing. I've done, all of those things. I've never been hunting. No, I've never been on a fox hunt, but I approve of it. I know many people will disagree with me, but, I don't think it is correct to put a sloth, a solitary creature that lives up a tree, in the Kensington Billionaires Row mansion of a stupid, petulant daughter of a coffin-dodging, convicted criminal fraudster named Bernie Ecclestone. Shame on you, Tamara Ecclestone. And I'm very, very angry about this, but I'm going to make the petition more general. That is what I've decided. I've been thinking about this for the last 2 days. I want to make it I want a campaign. I want it debated in Parliament, and I will go after it. And I'm going to do one of those as well. Let's get as many people to sign as we can. I want it debated in Parliament to have sloths being banned from being kept as pets or taken around homes in England. There should be no sloths in England. Sloths should not be in the British Isles. So I'm going to go after this. This is a big campaign of mine, and I'm going to get my friends at the International Fund for Animal Welfare involved. I've been very involved in campaigning with them for many years. I've done a lot of fundraising for them, and I want the treatment of sloths to be stopped in the way it has, and that disgusting piece of rubbish who goes on Loose Women, shame on her. But it's not about her, it's about the sloth. I want the sloth to be treated better. That's what I feel. And I've been thinking about this for several days. I am not going after her specifically, but she is the prime example of the very worst of the worst for what she's done to the sloth, because she took it into that house and, had her children touch it. They don't want to be touched. And they were grabbing it in all these pictures. She's revolting. And as Lainey Warman says, sloths are beautiful creatures in their own environment. Yes, gorillas behind bars. No, gorillas should not be behind bars. Never. Should fish be kept in aquariums? Well, there are all sorts of different kinds of fish. But yes, I understand what you mean. There are degrees. But I'm sorry, a sloth is a solitary creature. A fish, it's a very different kind of creature. What about ferrets? I always wanted a ferret as a child, and I never had one. But there was that's a story for another day. I'll tell you the story of the ferrets another day. But squirrels. What's my opinion of Chris Eubank? I don't know what he's got to do with sloths, but Chris Eubank I have met on many occasions. I once went in his Hummer with him. I used to see him at Blake's Hotel. No, he's not my kind of person, really. He's a bit odd. Let's be honest. I used to see him at the Berkeley Hotel and Blake's Hotel. Richard Gere had a ferret, I think, says Matt Grant. Okay, well, a rabbit in a hutch. Well, many people like to have a rabbit. I never wanted to have a rabbit. I couldn't understand the desire for having one of those. I wanted a ferret, but I wasn't allowed one because of various matters. But that's a story for another day. Right. All wild animals belong in the wild, says Lassoe. I agree, except rescue animals. Well, I think it would be best to let most animals have peace and let them live in their own habitat. Obviously, animals that grow up in captivity, like my friend John Rendell, who took the lion from Harrods, Christian the lion, my late friend who was married to Liz Brewer. He took a lion and he took it because he felt that it was wrong that it was being kept in a cage in Harrods, and then he eventually took it to Africa and it was released into the wild, and then it reacclimatized. It acclimatized because it was not a lion that was born in the wild, and that lion became the head of the pride, and that was a wonderful, glorious story. So, that's a story I like. Tamara Ecclestone has done the reverse. She has taken a sloth from the rainforest and put it in her sitting room in bloody Kensington. That is revolting. Absolutely unacceptable in 1984 and definitely unacceptable in 2025. That girl deserves the birch for what she's done. Shame on her. She's an appalling, sick in the head, revolting woman because, she should be educating her children about how to care for animals. Why don't you give some money to a charity to help animals when you're a daughter of a billionaire? Why don't you try and help, save some elephants from being shot by Donald Trump's children who go around shooting elephants, lions, and all the rest? Why don't you do something about that instead of going on about how wonderful Donald Trump is in that regard? Donald Trump's children are awful because they go around shooting elephants and lions, and I don't like that. I will not forgive them for that. I do think Mr. Trump is doing a lot better than Biden, but I don't like people killing elephants and lions, and I get very, very upset about it. And as Lady Min here will know, did I not lead a campaign against Marylise van der Meer, the woman who killed the dreadful woman who shot a giraffe for Valentine's Day? She is one of the most revolting people I've ever campaigned against. And I got 50,000 people to sign my petition against that. And I got her thrown off the internet, which is what I wanted because I got her on copyright fraud. It was the only way I could do it with her. She is a piece of filth and she's a piece of scum. And she'll always be a piece of scum. And, she tore its heart out and supposedly ate it or something. Ugh. Not nice. Stevie D saved a baby owl once and went to visit it when it was an adult. An amazing experience. That is a lovely story. Thank you for sharing that, Stevie D. We love people who help innocent animals because if you treat an animal badly, there's something wrong with your heart, in my view. If you treat animals well, you're a kind, decent person. So don't go around hurting innocent animals. No, never. 50,000 was an impressive way to go. Yes, well, we're going to do this with the sloth. So I want you all to help me. Thank you to all of you. We will start what's called a change.org petition, and then I will also do a petition to Parliament. So the British people can sign that. If we get to 100 signatures, we get some kind of discussion. If we get to 10,000, we get a debate. I want a debate. I want a debate on the banning of keeping of sloths. That's what I'm after. And I'm going to go after this. I want nobody to be having sloths in their homes in the UK. Sloths belong in the rainforest. So thank you very much. I won't bang on anymore. I'll pour myself a bit more wine because I need a drink after my little rant on that topic. But I tell you, if you all help me with this, we can make this happen. Last time I got I got these people banned from the internet. They don't realize who they're taking on with me when I get going. I get very passionate when it comes to animals, and animals should not be abused. Animals are beautiful, beautiful things, and we should not be harming them in this way. So the sloth must be allowed to live in the rainforest. And whoever supplied that sloth to Tamara Ecclestone, I want them to be bloody named and shamed. I'm yet to find out who that person is, but if I do find out, I will be naming and shaming them till the cows come home. I am not prepared to let this poor sloth suffer another moment of indignity and abuse with her dirty little children putting their filthy hands all over it. They are solitary creatures that like to live up a tree. And they were going like this. That is cruelty. That is animal abuse. They may think it's, a bit of fun. We can touch the nice little creature. The creature did not want to be touched. The experts in conservation, they all say it. These creatures should not be touched. The one thing they don't like is being in contact with anything. They are solitary. Make them go and live with her. Right. Make who go and live with her? Right. I don't know who you're talking about. Imagine how spoilt Tamara Ecclestone's kids are. Yes, they are spoilt brats. Make them... Right. You helped a white owl, and it was absolutely fantastic, Stevie D. Well, that's wonderful. Right. So you want some rumors about Timmy Mallet? Well, I did have a row with Timmy Mallet as a child. He did scream and yell at me at Jodrell Bank in Cheshire, and Granny Howard was there, and Granny Howard gave him a right good telling off. So you don't mess with Granny Howard. And Granny Howard's doing very well. Thank you very much. She's a wonderful lady. So there we go. So, right. You love robins. Oh, I love a robin too. They're very aggressive, but they're beautiful birds. Absolutely the most amazing birds to look at. And I find them great company. Love a robin. I've been feeding some seagulls here, and I've been feeding some collared doves. There aren't many other birds here at the moment, but there is a cormorant, but I don't like cormorants because cormorants kill everything. They're just vicious. They kill all the fish, and they're not very nice. They're quite wicked, but that doesn't mean that the cormorant doesn't have the right to do what it wants to do. But I'm not a fan of cormorants personally. Did I ever meet Paul Daniels? No, I've never met Paul Daniels, and I'm very glad I didn't, to be honest, because I think he was a bit odd. And as for Debbie McGee, well, the question always has to be, Mrs. Merton, what was it about the multimillionaire Paul Daniels that first attracted you to him? And she didn't even get the joke. So, Debbie McGee now flogs kitchen doors. So secondhand kitchen doors is a bit lowbrow, but, she's making a lot of money at it. And she does a podcast, I believe, called Tea with Debbie McGee. Well, there we go. Robins are very noisy at this time of year. The males sing all night, says TMTB. I don't know where you are, but around here. I don't know where is around here, TMTB. Farage is a slippery snake, says Jack Smith. I don't disagree with you. Totally agree. Right. I hope Timmy doesn't put plasters on a monkey or dress it up. I don't know what Timmy was doing with a monkey, but oh dear. I think you're probably making a reference to a pop star who is I believe there's a program in Britain about tonight. Michael Jackson, and he did have a monkey, and I did encounter the monkey on one occasion in Knightsbridge. So there we go. I did meet Bubbles the monkey on one occasion. That was many, many years ago. And again, I don't think a monkey should be treated in the way that that monkey was treated. Not fair. Monkeys belong where they belong. They don't belong in human captivity. Let animals have their space. Don't abuse animals ever. Right. You delivered steel and not doors. Right. Okay. I don't know what that means. You're in the center of the US, says TMTB. Okay, right. So TMTB is in the center of the US, and robins are being very noisy there. So there we go. Right. So we'll come to my next topic. Right, that one's done. My next topic is the most expensive dog. The most expensive dog has been sold for £4.4 million. Can you imagine someone paying £4.4 million for a dog? But someone did. Its name is Kadabom Akami, and it was sold to someone in India. It's a one-of-a-kind, according to the Evening Standard. It's a cross between an actual wolf and a Caucasian shepherd, which is native to the Chorus region, so Georgia, Armenia, Azerbaijan, or Dagestan. The 8-month-old dog weighs 75 kilograms. It's 30 inches tall. And the purchaser, S. Safish, we don't know what his Christian name is. He looks exactly like a wolf. This breed has not been sold in the world before, he says. This was bred in the US and is extraordinary. I spent 50 million rupees on buying this pup because I'm fond of dogs and like to own unique dogs and introduce them to India. He must be a very rich person, obviously. What a mad world we live in. It's not a French bulldog, no. The dog has already attended film premieres and he gets money for taking his dog to the film premiere. So he gets between 2,200 and 9,000. And last year he bought a Chow Chow that cost 2.5 million. So allegedly the Chow Chow looks like a red panda. So what do you make of that? Let's have a few views on the £4 million dog. £4.4 million dog, so nearly 5, not quite 5 million, but you bet it's beautiful. It's a shocking price. It does make you pause for thought. Yes, there's a little pun for the thing. What's the lifespan of a dog? I had an English pointer that lived to be 18. I've had dogs that live to be 12. Dogs live for a thing. Amanda Roberts says it's barking mad. How can a dog be worth 4.4 million? Well, Tamara Ecclestone, why didn't she could buy it instead of the old Sloth, couldn't she? She can afford it. So let's see that. Right. Lee Kicker likes to see the daffodils today. Other flowers have sprung up. I don't know what's that got to do with the dogs, but Michelle had a Caucasian shepherd dog. Well, Michelle, if you crossed it with a wolf, you could make 4.4 million. So have a go at this man in India and he might pay you the money. So show you the money. Right. Lee Kicker doesn't like dogs. There we go. Some people don't like dogs, and some people don't like apples, and some people don't like pears, and some people like apples and pears. So stick them all together, and you never know what might happen. Right. So after 20 years, he's buried 4 million. Well, if it keeps him happy, good for him. Hopefully he is a happy man. T-Gun gets the dogs from shelters. They've all been wonderful. That's nice. There are too many dogs in the UK. I'm not going to read the next part of your quote, but there we go. Thank you, Amanda. Right. So Do you like a dog or do you like a cat? Yeah, have we got dog people or cat people here? So today, we're not doing crime tonight. We're doing weird things, but we're going to come on to a very weird topic soon. Mr. Lee Kicker loves cats. Pauline has 2 dogs. Okay, well, that's very nice. Amanda likes dogs and cats. Will he ever get his money back? Mr. Lee Kicker likes flowers. Keely has a yellow Labrador and 2 cats. And Expialidocious goes, woof, woof. This is a great chat tonight. Yes. Wolf hybrids are a tricky business. They don't always like people, says TMTB. Amanda prefers cats, even though she has likes dogs and cats. So there we go. Right. Cats are a pain in the whatever. They mess in the garden. Yes, I don't like the mess the cats make in the garden here, I can tell you. Not very nice things, the local cats here. Pests. Vazzy loves her border collie. It's absolutely intelligent. That's nice. Louise has an 11-year-old tabby cat called Stallone. So you obviously liked Sylvester. Right. Mr. Lee Kicker assumes the dog likes humans if it's worth 4 million. Right. Well, of course, there was the man, the fashion designer, Karl Lagerfeld, who left a lot of money to his cat. And then there was obviously that mad woman who wanted to look like a cat, the dreadful mad woman, married to, not married, Mrs. Wildenstein. She was a total loon, and her stupid boyfriend, he's not that stupid because he's got 100 million. He and I don't get on very well. He gave me a right old screaming match once on the phone. Catwoman, of course, is dead, but she's brown bread. But Freddie Mercury left money to his cat, says Mr. Lee Kicker. Yes, well, lots of people leave animals a lot of money. My friend Sir Benjamin Slade had a Labrador that inherited a lot of money. And then there was a court case with his ex-girlfriend. So that was an interesting case. Sir Benjamin Slade, look up the case of him and his Labrador. We love Benjamin Slade. Sir Ben is an absolutely fabulous man, absolutely great fun, and wonderful. So there we go. But have a look up the case of him and his Labrador. So that's an interesting one. Right, so we'll move along to the next topic. The next topic is someone who, we go back to the absolutely ludicrous, the woke, the wacky, the completely nuts is the way I've summed it up at the end of my notes. So there's a woman called Martina Big. It's an unfortunate name to begin with. Martina Big. And she is big. She's very big. Anyway, Martina is 36. She was white, but now she identifies as black. She's been giving herself tanning injections. She's a white woman from Germany. And she and her husband, Michael Irwin, who's also white, but he's not white anymore either, in his view, inject synthetic hormone melatonin to darken their skin. Why would you ever do such a strange thing? Why would you want to change the color of your skin? That is weird. That is freakish. It's disgusting. She has 32 T-sized breasts after operations on them. Her breasts are so big that she can barely stand up. She makes Katie Price look like she's some kind of innocent little schoolgirl. This lunatic claims she's had invitations from many African countries to go and live in them. At the top of her list are Kenya and Namibia. She wants to be called Malika Kabwa. Her name is Martina Big for the moment, but she wants to be called Malika Kabwa because that means big angel in Swahili. She claims she has the largest breasts in Europe. She's also had her lips augmentations, wants to have bum or butt. She calls it bum augmentation. She wants her nose widened to make it look African. This woman is a ridiculous attention seeker. This makes Catwoman look normal. She cannot do it before she moves to Africa because she doesn't know where in Africa it can be done, supposedly. She's got many fans, allegedly. She did go on this morning with Holly Willoughby. Oh, yes. The famous Holly Willoughby, you know, the one that went queue jumping at the Queen's funeral with Philip Schofield. That old piece of work. Holly, Wally, Golly, Dolly, Polly, Wally, whatever you call Golly, Wally, not so sorry. She said to her, Holly, the lovely Holly, pain in the arse that she is, which is rather appropriate in the context of a woman with a big bum. Doctors have told you that your baby will be black. She responded, yeah, they said they will be black. We've also discussed about breastfeeding and is it safe for me to have a baby? Doctor said I'm physically now a black woman and my future children will be black, and I believe the doctors. No, this woman is not black. She has nothing to do with it. She's an absolute pest. Stop these kind of people. Don't give them publicity. The Daily Mail, you must stop it. This woman is a lunatic. She's a fruitcake. She belongs in the funny farm. She is not actually funny at all. You know, what a ridiculous thing to be. She's just an absolute pain in the arse. So what do you think of the nut job, tit job? Yes, says Mr. Lee Kicker. Totally agree with you. She's deluded. She's lost the plot. Yes, she's deluded, says Elaine Harvey. Yep. Wikipedia says Martina's breasts have a volume of 20,000 cubic centimeters, says it's a relic. Well, you know, absolutely stupid. She's certainly milking it. Well, there won't be anything in those things. It's plastic, not fantastic. It's appalling. And this mad world we're living in, where we have to accept being tolerant of these kind of people. These people are disgusting. I am not going to be tolerant. I don't need to be tolerant anymore. I will say what I think. Another Julia attention seeker. Well, we're going to come to her in a minute. That she's the next on the list. That little pest. She's an absolute pain in the arse, is that little nuisance. Right, yes. No. Honestly, you cannot go around being like that, injecting yourself because you're white and you want to be black. It's like someone who is black who bleaches their skin because they want to be white. I have many black friends. I have many brown friends. I have many friends of all sorts of different varieties who come from all over the world. You can be whatever you want to be, but don't go around injecting yourself. That's ridiculous. You're mental. You're off your bloody rocker. You need to be sectioned. There is no need to pretend to be black when you're white. And there's no need to pretend to be white when you're black. So it works both ways. She is an attention seeker for sure. Yes. What do black people make of her? I'm sure black people have no desire to have anything to do with this moron. She is a moronic attention seeker who is trying to make money out of her stupid story. She is a pointless and pathetic pain in the arse. I don't like her, and that is what I want to say about her. No, there's no room for that wicked pest. Anyway, you brought up the dreaded Julia. The dreaded Julia's little campaign team are carrying on. Look, they have the right to campaign for their little lunatic. This Julia is a nuisance. She will be coming up in court on the 7th of April, I believe. So it's not that far away now. She's a ghastly fame seeker. Yes, totally agree. I don't know if that's Julia or, woman who wants to be black. Both of them. No, Julia Wandell, or whatever she's called on a Tuesday. Look, leave Madeleine McCann's family alone. I am no fan of the McCanns, as you all know. I think that those two should have been charged with child neglect. They are not responsible parents. They did a terrible thing. They left the children with the door open, and they went off for dinner with their friends, and it was left open onto the main road. That's the most stupid thing you could ever do. But that does not mean that some psycho girl from Poland, who is Polish, should be allowed to come harassing them all the time. And I hope that this girl is prosecuted to the full extent of the law on the 7th of April. So, it's quite right that she was remanded in custody. She is not a good person. She's a wicked person of unsound mind. She's done it again and again. She's been phoning them. She's been harassing the children, the brother and sister via Instagram. That girl deserves the book throwing for at her. That girl should be sent to prison. She's not a girl, in fact. She's an adult. She knew full well what she was doing, and she knows what she's up to. She's been on the Dr. Phil show in America, a huge TV show. She was proven to be a complete fraud. She's a pest. And now there's other ones doing the same. So she's actually triggered other ones to start playing the game because they think they can get a bit of attention too. And that is not fair to those children of the McCanns. They should not, those twins, they lost their sister. Whatever happened to their sister, whether she's alive or dead, I have my view, but I'm not going to share it because, my view is as irrelevant as the next person's view because, frankly, I don't know what happened. You don't know what happened. And probably nobody will ever know what happened to that girl that night, really. But that girl has not been found. So she doesn't exist, in my view. But that's where we are. She doesn't... this mad woman is not Madeleine McCann, and she should put a sock in it. It's jolly well time she shut her trap. She learnt to learn the art of silence, and she learnt some respect and decency to her own parents who've kindly brought her up. The way she mistreats them is absolutely appalling. This girl is absolutely sickening in the way she speaks about her own parents, just because they won't do a DNA test. Leave them alone as well. They are victims in this story as much as the McCanns are, because they brought this little madam up, and they come across as perfectly decent people. And Dr. whatever she's called, Leah or Dear or something, she proved that this girl was completely bird-brained. She's off her rocker. No, terrible. There we go. So, right. Anyway, next questions from you. Any more questions before we go to a quiz? we're at 49 minutes, so it'd be nice to have a few more questions before we go to a quiz. We've got plenty of quizzes prepared for you because I'd spent yesterday sitting in the garden and preparing some quizzes, so I've got quite a few for you. Anyway, so right. Anyway, any more questions? Have I ever danced the tango? No, I've never danced the tango. I don't think I'd be very good at that. I don't think I'd be on Strictly Come Dancing. It's not quite my thing. No. So there we go. Thank you for your question, Matt Grant. I don't know why you asked me that particular question, but each to their own. Have my subscriber numbers increased doing these live chats? I've gained a few, not that many, but we'll keep trying. If I had to go on a reality TV show, what would it be? I was invited to go on Gogglebox, but unfortunately, the producers decided that they couldn't find a suitable person to pair me with. So unfortunately, I didn't do it, but they keep in touch with me, and maybe one day I might go on Gogglebox, or maybe I'll go on one of their other shows. They make many of those reality shows. So there we go. I did used to go on Sean Atwood's channel. I have been on that. I've been on it again recently, but I will perhaps do another TV show of some form. Yes, you'd like me to be on Gogglebox. That's 3 of you straight away. You should be on Gogglebox. Well, I did enjoy doing the trials a number of times, but unfortunately, you have to have somebody who you can be paired with who can commit, and the commitment is rather large. You have to be able to commit to doing, 6 hours every week for 6 months. So it's a lot of commitment, and most people can't do that. Most of my friends travel or have family commitments or whatever else, so I couldn't do it. You think I should be on Gogglebox with Liz Brewer? Okay, well, I think Liz Brewer, unfortunately, also is a person who has rather a lot of commitments, but I may ask Liz Brewer next time. Yes, if they ask again, I could ask Liz Brewer. Yes, that's an option. Because that would be kind of funny, yes. But there are lots of other people I'd love to go on Gogglebox with, but unfortunately, the ones they wanted me to be on it with could not commit to being on it for long enough, so that didn't happen. What about my things with Peter Blexley? Yes, Peter Blexley and I very much enjoy doing Talk TV with Peter Blexley. You'd love me to partner with Christine Hamilton. Christine Hamilton gave the speech at my 21st birthday party. I love Christine. She's a very, very kind lady, and she's been very kind to me lately, and that's been an utterly wonderful thing. There we go. You'd like me to be on with Denise Van Outen. I don't know Denise. I've only ever met Denise once. I met her at a party in Chelsea Cloisters, of all places, in a bar there, which belonged to a man called Charlie Jilks, who's very involved with the royal family and all of that. Denise is actually a very lovely lady, but I don't know Denise, so no, not really. Isn't it time you write a novel? I could do. I have been writing one. I've got plenty of pages of it written, actually, but it's a long way from being finished. So no, I don't have anything on that. You could listen to me interviewing Peter for hours. Okay, yes, he's a wise and knowledgeable gentleman. Peter Blexley is a wonderful gentleman, and I do very much enjoy chatting with him. I'm sorry about this beeping in the background. I don't know what it is. Stupid thing. You'd be great on Parkinson. When I was on with Peter Blexley talking about Claudia Lawrence, yes, a very interesting case, and I very much enjoyed chatting with the other gentleman. Um, though, what a horrible, horrible, sad story. And poor Claudia, we hope to have justice one day for Claudia. You and Victoria Haig, Vicky, Mad Vicky, lovely Mad Vicky, we love her. Yep, you'd love to have Victoria and me together. Yep, well, we did it once, so we'll do it again. But she happens to live in northern France, and I'm not in northern France, so I can't really do it over that. No, the alert is just stupid Facebook and Instagram and whatever else. I'm very sorry, I don't know how to turn it off. I should have turned it all off, but I don't know how to. I'm absolutely useless with technology. Any news on Jeremy Bamber? Well, the CCRC are going to be reviewing the case by the end of March. So we're hoping for justice for Jeremy. Justice for Jeremy. I am very much, at the beginning, as I've always said, I was 40% convinced that Jeremy Bamber was innocent. I am 99.9% sure Jeremy Bamber is an innocent man, and Jeremy Bamber's horrible family need to put a sock in it and let that poor man have the rest of his life in freedom. And I am helping the Justice for Jeremy campaign. I am honored to support them. I am honored to count them as my friends. I spend a lot of time chatting with them. They are fabulous people, absolutely dedicated, kind-hearted, decent people. We need more people in the world like the Justice for Jeremy campaign, and we need less people like the horrible Boutflower family, who all they wanted was to nab the farm and the caravan parks. That's what they were after. Greedy, 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 greedy guts. Terrible people. Right. Have I looked at the Essex boys murder case? Asks Freedom Rights Lies. Yes, well, the Essex boys murder case is very interesting at the moment because one of the two, I think it's Holmes. I can't remember. It's either Steele or Holmes, obviously, because there's two of them that were convicted. I think Steele was released. I did ask this in my quiz the other day. I forgot. I can't remember which one was released in 2021. The other one is due to be released, but the Home Office minister, whatever she's called, is trying to stop this now. No, I don't think they're the killers. Absolutely not. No. The Essex boys murder, the Range Rover murders, whatever you want to call it. No, not those two. They were framed. Absolutely. This doesn't make sense. The story doesn't make sense. Those people were very unpleasant people. My only connection to that story is I knew a man who owned a nightclub in London called Attica, and he owned a nightclub in Southend in Essex as well, which was called Faces. And he was the man, the one of those three men was one of the people that supplied the poor girl called Leah Betts with the ecstasy pill that killed her. And she drank too much water and then she died. And I think a lot of this was about revenge for the death of Leah Betts, because the Sun newspaper ran a huge campaign about the death of Leah Betts. And this man ran a restaurant in Beecham Place, Knightsbridge, and one of them, Pat Tate, the nastiest of all three of them, was his bodyguard, and they lived in Hampstead or Highgate or somewhere. And I knew people who knew him, and that's how I was introduced to this whole story. But I never ever met the Essex boys people, because obviously it was a long time. I was a child when it happened, but I knew people who were associated with the story. It's a sick story. Yet another example of Essex police bungling an investigation. Essex police, the worst police force in Britain, other than the Metropolitan, obviously, which is pretty bad. So we've got Dr. Jones, the murderer who killed his wife in the Jaguar XJS. We've got the Range Rover murders. We've got Jeremy Bamber's case. We've got Stuart Lubbock and Michael Barrymore, the revolting Michael. But yeah, and here comes there we go. I'll tell you this. Keith Bishop, where are you? I'm waiting for you, Keith Bishop. You're a coward, Keith Bishop. Keith Bishop is Michael Barrymore's agent. He cannot be bothered to reply. Pathetic specimen he is. Wouldn't you agree, Lady Min?
Yes.
We don't like Keith Bishop. Keith Bishop, you're a load of toe-rag. You are not helping the Lubbock family, and we want justice for the Lubbock family. Let's phone Bishop. I have phoned Bishop. He doesn't phone back. Bishop is a coward. Bishop wants to make money out of Michael Barrymore's TikTok. Bishop is the worst. I can't stand Bishop. Bishop, awful. Oh, and Penny in the Jaguar in the car park. Yes, that was another story, but that wasn't in Essex, I don't think. The lady in the car park. Phone him now. He won't answer. No one will answer. So it's the wrong time of day to be calling Bishop. But Bishop is a bag of bilge. Bag of bilge, Bishop. We want you to man up and you get your little rat Barrymore. I want rat Barrymore on the phone. I want to face you, Barrymore, and actually ask you some questions. Because what you did, 9 people went to a house and 8 of them lived. And you filthy piece of rubbish, at 5 a.m, there were screams. At 6 a.m, phone calls were made to the police, the ambulance. So there was an hour before anything was made. And in the time between that and the ambulances and police arriving, you ran away, you little rat, and you were seen emptying cupboards. What on earth you took with you, God will only know. And then what happened once your little agent got there and took the pool thermometer and the door handle? And they were weapons that were used to rape and murder a poor man. And then you had the audacity, disgusting Barrymore, to say, oh, it must have been done in the hospital. You tried to blame National Health Service workers for raping and abusing a body of a dead person when it happened in your home. You are the most sickening, revolting, horrible, evil, cretinous, disgusting piece of filth. I have spent time with the family of the victim, who should be remembered. His name was Stuart Lubbock. His name should be remembered. You should be cancelled. You are revolting, Barrymore. You took away the father of 2 innocent children, by your actions, because you ran away. Even if you were not the killer, and I'm not suggesting you were, I'm suggesting that your actions helped the cover-up of whoever was the killer, because somebody raped Stuart Lubbock, somebody murdered Stuart Lubbock, and Stuart Lubbock was a heterosexual man and the father of 2 children. And you have ruined 2 children's lives because they don't have a father. You are a revolting creep. And then you got down on your knees in front of Jimmy Savile, the worst paedophile in history in Britain, and you started worshipping him. And then you dressed up as Hitler. So you upset the Jewish population. What is right about you? And as for you, Keith Bishop, you are the PR of this scumbag. So I can't stand Keith Bishop. Keith Bishop, I'd love to meet you because I'd love to tell you to your face what I bloody well think of you, Bishop. You're definitely not a person I'd want to play a game of chess with because I'd bloody well win. You're a horrible, horrible person, Bishop. Wouldn't you agree? We don't like Keith Bishop. Sorry to be angry, but I just cannot tolerate the way Barrymore has done this to this poor family. And I've spent time with this poor family, and these children don't have a father because of what happened at that house. And yes, Mr. Lubbock was a bit starstruck and went to a party. It didn't mean he had to get murdered. And once he got murdered, the coward ran away. It's his house. If you have a party and someone gets murdered at your house, you should stick around to deal with the clear up, shouldn't you? The follow up. Sorry, Barrymore, you were a cowardly custard. You're a pathetic specimen. You're revolting. You make me so angry. I'm very sorry. I cannot help but get angry when it comes to this. Yes. No. It's absolutely appalling. What book am I currently reading? Would I ever start a book club? Ask Elizabeth. So, okay, changing the topic. I'm currently reading Have You Eaten Grandma? I've nearly finished it by Giles Brandreth. It's a lovely book, absolutely fabulous book. Lovely book about words and, how you should use words. So there we go. Harriet is blocking trolls. Thank you to Harriet. We love our Harriet. Harriet is always happy and lovely. We love you, Harriet. You've always been very kind. I'm having another glass of wine. But no, Have You Eaten Grandma by Giles Brandreth. I recommend it to you all. One of my supporters sent that to me. Lovely thing. So no, Giles Brandreth is the chairman of the National Scrabble Championships. He was an ex-Conservative MP. He's often on that program This Morning, which I don't particularly like, with that awful, former creep Philip Schofield is no longer on it. But he's a nice man. It's all about words. So it's all about, have you eaten grandma? And where's the comma in that? And have you eaten grandma? If you don't have a comma after eaten, well, have you eaten grandma? But if you have a comma, it's have you eaten grandma? So that's asking if grandma has eaten. So, it's the importance of using language correctly, which is a very important thing. So there are nuances that, we all get. So there we go. Adam says, good evening to the legendary Lady Men. Adam.
Hello, Adam.
She says hello to Adam, as does Lauren. There we go. Right. Anyway, so there we are. That's where we're up to on that. We will try doing our little quiz now. If someone is ready to help me with the quiz, is Harriet prepared to help with the quiz? Can Harriet do the quiz, or can somebody else help with the quiz? Because I'm not going to be very good at doing this by myself. You ate grandmother the other night. She was very good with potatoes and green beans. She was lovely, says TM2B. Well, yeah, there we go. Harriet is going to help with the quiz. So Harriet will be quiz mistress. You will be our Debbie McGee for the evening. Thank you, Harriet. Thank God we haven't had a single mention of Anthea Turner yet, but we will be getting Anthea Turner, I'm sure. Right. What activity This is the first question. What activity would one most associate with a cormorant? I was looking at one only yesterday morning, and that's what got me thinking. What does a cormorant mostly do? What is it? Apart from plundering fish, because they're evil bloody birds in that regard, what does a cormorant do? No, not fishing. No. What does it do? What does it do when it lands in the water? TMTB gets the point. The answer is diving. Cormorants dive. They dive and they go under the water to plunder the fish. So TMTB gets the point. So, right. If we could note that down as the first point, that would be very helpful. Okay. What is the alternative meaning of the heterophone bass, meaning type of fish, when pronounced differently? What is the alternative to bass? So when bass is pronounced in a different way, bass, what does it mean? It's a heterophone. So it's a word that can have two meanings when pronounced differently. I'll allow Daniel Wildgoose to have it. It's bass. Yes, it's a low, deep voice. A low, deep voice. So you can have bass or bass. Yeah, but spelt the same way. Right. Which brilliant actor once had a home with his own pub and bar in Plan de la Tour near Saint-Tropez? Which brilliant actor? I did spend time with him on his yacht in Venice on one occasion. I never went to his home in Plan de la Tour. It wasn't David Jason. I wouldn't call him a brilliant actor, but it wasn't Richard Burton. No, it wasn't David Niven. Chili Karen gets the point. So Chili Karen gets this point with Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp. Which cliffs are most associated with the late Dame Vera Lynn? Which cliffs? Miss Marple, you can have the point with Dover. It was the White Cliffs of Dover, but you got it for you said. I should only really allow full answers, but I'll allow you that one. Right. Which bird is associated with one for sorrow, two for joy? Which bird is associated with a rhyme, one for sorrow and two for joy? Daniel Wildgoose gets the point immediately with a magpie. Of course, magpie. Okay. What is the business Edmiston associated with? The Edmiston. And I'm friends with some of the Edmiston family myself. What are they associated with? They're nothing to do with printing and breweries. No. Penguins. No. Tea. They're not restaurateurs. They're not ice cream. They're not banking. The Edmistons. They're not light bulbs. They're not gin. They're not fashion. They're not publishing. They're not hoteliers. They're not electricals or tailors or racing or funeral directors. They're not riding. They're not jam. They're not printers. They're not grocery. They're not cigars. And they're not horse racing. They're not steel. They're not booze. So I think nobody gets a point on this one. The answer is yachts and boating. They have a super yacht business. So there we go. Nobody gets the point for that because you were too late. In which year was the Spectator established? Which year was the Spectator established? I need the exact year. There we go. It wasn't 1988. Right. None of you are getting it. Not one of you has got it yet. Nope. 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 There we go. Lady Min's cat, whoever you are, you're a new entrant to the quiz. Lady Min's cat gets the point with 1828. Well done to Lady Min's cat. I don't know who you are, but you're trying to claim her name. That's a bit naughty, isn't it? But you get the point. Well done to you. Which Labour politician was once forced to apologise for drinking a mojito canned drink on a London Underground train? Which Labour politician? It wasn't James Callaghan. It wasn't Tony Blair. It wasn't John Prescott, and it wasn't Tony Benn. Chris says Diane, but we need the surname. Linda Jo gets there before you. It's Diane Abbott. Diane Abbott was caught out drinking alcohol on an underground train, and then she apologized. I think that's the most stupid thing she's ever done. She's a particularly ridiculous woman, but that was a particularly fine example of her stupidity. Right. Which sport would one associate Judy Murray with? What sport is Judy Murray involved in? Matt Grant gets the point immediately with tennis. Yes, Judy Murray is the mother of Andy Murray and his brother. And of course, they're very associated with Dunblane also. So that's who they are. Right, next question. What fat is best used to use when cooking roast potatoes? What fat would you primarily use to cook roast potatoes? Matt Grant gets yet another point. Well done, Matt Grant. It is goose fat. Goose fat is the very best fat to cook roast potatoes in my humble opinion. So I totally agree with you. Is the Audi TT, which is the car I'm currently driving here in the south of France, it's a little bit of a gay hairdresser's car, but it gets us around, a sports type car or a 4x4 type car? Is it a sports car or a 4x4? Daniel Wildgoose gets the point. It is a sports car. Yes, it's a sports car. Right. What is the firm Jupiter associated with? What does Jupiter do? Jupiter, the firm called Jupiter. It's not in sports, no. It's not in space. It's not in mining. There we go. It's not in computers. It's not in law. It's not in print. Linda Jo gets it correct. It's an asset management company. It's finance. Finance I will allow. Finance is allowed. Which game are both Piotr Mediza and Kepa Piron associated with? Which game do these two men are they associated with? It's not cards. Daniel Wildgoose, you get it with chess. They are chess players. They're two chess players. Where is Titanic gin made? Which city is Titanic gin made in, or which country? I'll accept the country or the city. Lady Min's cat, you get it first. Lady Min's cat wins with Belfast. Belfast, Northern Ireland, which of course is one of the places. So the Titanic went from Southampton to Northern Ireland, and it was built, in Northern Ireland, and then it went to Southampton, then it went to Cherbourg, and then of course, boom, it sank. So poor thing. And the poor people who lost their lives, absolutely awful. What kind of water is used in making of the Martin's Miller's gin, which was a gin I was very involved in for a significant period of time? Martin Miller's gin. What kind of water? It wasn't sparkling. It wasn't soda. It wasn't ionized. It wasn't Malvern. No. It wasn't distilled. No. What kind? It wasn't wet. Well, it could be. Everything's wet in water, but no, it wasn't elderflower. It wasn't volcanic lava water. It wasn't slow water, right? It wasn't salt water. It wasn't hibiscus. No. Right. None of you get the answer, so it's another point cancelled. It was Icelandic. It was water from an iceberg. So there we go. Anyway, you didn't get the answer, so nobody wins. What topic is the book Hoofbeats by William T. Taylor about? Hoofbeats. What's the book about? It's not racing. Right. Matt Grant gets it with horses. Yes. It's about how horses shaped human history. So there you go. Where in London is the Thin House Artists Commune apartment building located? Which area? You can give me the square or you can give me the district. It's very narrow and it's next to an underground. Where is the Thin House located? It's not Islington. It's not Gretna Green. It's not Highgate. It's not Hampstead. Kensington comes close, but we need a specific answer. It's not Sloane Square. It's not Hackney Square. It's not Trafalgar. It's not Tower Bridge. It's not Windermere. It's not Chelsea. It's not Mayfair. It's not East. It's not Kensington Gardens. Nope. It's not Battersea. It's not Marlborough because it's not. It's not next to the Fat House. But Harriet gets a point. You know, Harriet is our moderator, but Harriet gets it with Thurlow Square. It's Thurlow Square, London. It's a very narrow house that is shaped in a V shape next to the undergrounds of South Kensington. So that's the answer to that question. Well done to Harriet, our moderator. Our moderator gets a point. I don't know whether our moderator should be allowed to get a point, but you did get the point because nobody else did. So there we go. How many MPs did the Liberal Democrats garner in the 2024 election? How many MPs did they get? They gained 61. So what did they go up to from 60? They did not have 2. They didn't have 75. They didn't have 87. They didn't have 89. They didn't have 64. They didn't have 75. They didn't have 1,234. That would be a bit much because there are not that many MPs in the Parliament. They didn't have 13 or 14. If they gained 61, they wouldn't have had 13. So that's a very strange answer. Lady Min's cat, whoever you are, gets the point. Lady Min's cat is the winner because Lady Min's cat said 72. They went up from 12 to 72 or 11 or whatever it was. I can't add up. I can't do numbers, so don't ask me. But anyway, they gained 61 seats under Ed Davey. Who are the presenters of a location, and you can give me either option. There are 2 presenters. I've met both of them. I sat next to one of them on a flight from New York once. The other one, well, I've spent time with him as well. Not right. So the boring old fart is what one of you says. Pauline says Kirsty and Phil. I'll let Pauline have it because you said both of them. Kirsty and Phil. Philip Spencer and Kirsty Allsop. Yep. So we'll let you have it. Pauline Makepeace. Pauline Makepeace gets the point. Right, we're nearly there. In which year was the Sporting School Millfield founded? The Sporting School Millfield. What year was it founded? It was connected with an eccentric English gentleman named Jack Mayer, a firm believer that the power of sport made lives better. So, what year was Millfield School, the sporting school, founded? Well, Lady Min's Cat again gets it. You're very good, you Lady Min's Cat, whoever you are. You're very good on bloody Google, I reckon. It was 1935. Which singer is associated with the track Distance Access? He was the frontman of The National, and he is a classic baritone voice. Who is the singer associated with the track Distant Access? It's not Russell Watson and it's not Bob Dylan. Lauren says cats can't do Google and it's not Michael Barrymore. No, it wasn't Botticelli and it wasn't Norma Winston, whoever Norma Winston is. Expialidocious says, I don't know. Well, that's so obvious. Thank you. It's not Rod Stewart, no. So who sang Distant Access? It wasn't Alfie Boe. It wasn't Michael Jackson. I like tripping you up with some kind of difficult questions because it makes the ones that do the Googling make it harder. It's not Michael Ball, no. You were born in 1992. These questions ain't for me. Well, I'm very sorry. If you don't like my questions, you don't have to join in. I'm very sorry, Lauren. If you don't like my questions, Lady Min's Cat has obviously Googled it. It's Matt Berenger. That's his name, Matt Berenger. Okay. In which year, because this is the 50th anniversary, in which year was British Airways? This is one of your kind of easy questions designed for all you people who don't like my difficult questions. In which year was British Airways founded? And I've already given you a clue. Of course, it wasn't 1975. No. No. Well, Janet Adam gets it with 1974. Well done to Adam. It was the 31st of March, 1974. British Airways was founded by the merger of four companies on the 31st of March, 1974. So there we go. Another quiz. Another quiz done. I think I will have to start a thing. Min's Cat has won the quiz. I don't know who Min's Cat is, but it's a curious use of a name. Daniel Wild Goose comes second, along with Matt Grant. Thank you. Lady Min's Cat was Googling away, says that. Bravo to Lady Min's Cat. There we go. Lady Min's Cat gets the cream, says Miss Marple. Thanks for the quiz. Right. Lady Min's Cat is very happy. You seem to be putting up lots of pictures. I don't know what that's all about. Right. Anyway, whoever you are, Lady Min's Cat, you're the cat that got the cream. So we say well done to Lady Min's Cat, don't we?
We do.
We don't know who you are, Lady Min's Cat, because you don't give your real name. If you wish to tell us who you are, it'd be very nice. Come on, speak up. Speak now or forever hold your peace. We'd like to know who you are, but thank you to you. Right. Thank you very much to the lovely Harriet for keeping the scores. The Debbie McGee of the evening. Absolutely wonderful of you to do that. That was very kind of you. Right, more questions. Let's have a few more questions before we finally go. We can have a few more questions. We can have another 10 minutes of questions. So come on, thank you. Right. Are we going to have a few more questions from any of you? What do I think of Jimmy Savile? Well, there's not much to think of Jimmy Savile anymore because he's dead. He's brown bread. He was just a wicked, evil man. He was disgusting. He was protected by powerful people. He conned everybody he ever encountered. He was a nasty piece of work. There we go. Is Lady Min titled? No, I don't believe she is. Right. What will I learn about Harry's visa? Prince Harry, well, I hope that the Americans are going to throw the book at him, but I don't think they will. They don't want to cause a diplomatic incident because Donald Trump will be coming for a state visit to Britain, and he won't want to have a situation. Is Prince Andrew finished? Asks Stephen Patterson. I think his brother is rather sick of him. I think the world is rather sick of him. And as for Fergie, God knows, awful. They are a pair of ghastly, grim grabbers. They are grifters. They are the lowest scumbag. They're like pond life. They feed off anything they can get. The disgusting. Prince Andrew and Fergie should be thrown into a blender at high speed. Awful people. Ghastly. Dreadful. And you love the way I say Fergie. Yes, thank you, Chris. Yeah, well, that's her. That's the way I say, because she's just horrific. There's nothing pleasant or redeeming about that woman. She's horrible. And she wants to go on Loose Women. She will embarrass the royal family. She brings shame wherever she goes, hanging around with Gloria Hunniford. Talk about lowering the tone. That's tacky and tawdry and tepid and tedious. That is what she is. Awful. We don't like Fergie. No. So I call her Fergie. Yep. Right. What plans have you got for tomorrow? We're doing gardening tomorrow, so that's going to be interesting. Yeah, we won't come to that for the moment. Right. What do I think of Cliff Richard? Another nasty man who, once he's dead, the world will revise history of him. Let's be honest. I did ask questions of Mr. Cliff, Sir Cliff, and his lovely little companion, the vicar. Why were you photographed in 3 different outfits with the Crays, and you claim you only met them once? So did you get changed 3 times during the meeting? What a load of old hooch. The man is a complete load of rubbish. He sells horrible wine, disgusting. He hanged around with awful people. He's awful. And as for his music, well, I wouldn't call it music. I'd call it evil noise. It's horrible, disgusting. Can't stand him. Yeah, Glowing Cliff. Yeah, you don't like him. What about Princess Tippy Toes? No great fan of Princess Tippy Toes. She's awful. Would I ever do a travel program like Michael Portillo? Well, I haven't been asked to do one, but I'd love to do a program where I went around the world and did things like he does, because I think Michael Portillo's programs about train journeys are spectacular, wonderful, inspiring, educational, fabulous. There are lots of people who, Attenborough and There are loads of people who do great things. I'm very supportive of people who do wonderful. Portillo and Attenborough, there's two examples. Right. Have I ever met Gary Wilmot? I don't know who Gary Wilmot even is. So I'm sorry. I just can't say I've ever met Gary Wilmot. Right. Ronnie Cray said that in a recorded interview that Cliff Richard used to write to him in prison. Well, he did, I'm sure, because Ronnie Cray and Cliff Richard had a lot in common. But I'm not going to say any more than that. But when Cliff Richard eventually croaks, and I don't like Cliff Richard, as you all know, I think the truth will finally come out. Cliff Richard is not a nice man, and I don't like Cliff Richard, and he knows I don't like him, and his stupid vicar friend, who is also very dislikable, knows he doesn't like me, and I don't like him. So there we go. Yeah, I asked a question, and the word called kitty. Let's just leave it with the word called kitty. So all of you, just when Cliff Richard dies, think of the word called kitty. That's a nice word to think of. Elm Guest House. Also think of that. Portillo is underrated, a national treasure. I think Michael Portillo is fabulous. He adds to the color of the nation. The train programs, glorious. They're wonderful to watch. They add to the color of our lives. You know, it's nice. Do I encounter genuine homeless people? With a friend of mine who will remain nameless, I have been known to go around helping homeless people. And he does a lot for homeless people, and he is called out in the British papers for being someone disreputable, and he is a very kind person who helps homeless people. And I think it's important to help the homeless. Nobody should be homeless in Great Britain, or anywhere for that matter. Nobody should be homeless. Are Cliff and the vicar a couple? Well, they seem to travel around together. That's all I shall say. There you go. I can't answer the question, but he gets very angry about any question asked about that. But he is a complete creep. I refer to Cliff Richard as the creepy Christian crooner. That is what I shall say about him. He was very upset about various things. Yes. Have I been on the Orient Express? Yes. I loved going on the Orient Express. I went on the Orient Express from London to Venice. That was a wonderful journey. Well, that was the best train ride I've ever had in my life. And I'd love to do it again. I can't afford to do it presently because it's very, very expensive. But I had to go on it to take somebody from London to Venice for a party, and it was fabulous. I loved it. I loved the Orient Express, and my friends owned the Orient Express. He's died now, but if I could ever do that again, I would definitely do it again. It was the most civilized way to travel. Wonderful. Cliff was sweating on loose women. Yes, well, he did that, and he was crying and going on about how he was lying on his kitchen floor and crying on the tiles. That's all he ever does. Cliff Richard is a whinging, whining, boring piece of rubbish. He's awful. You love Johnny Rotten. I don't know Johnny Rotten. I've never met him, but I'm sure he's a much better person than Cliff Richard. Did I ever watch David Suchet's show where he traveled the Orient Express? I didn't know. But it would be nice to watch it. But I done it myself, and I very much enjoyed going on it. I'd like to go to Istanbul on it next because I've never been to Istanbul, so that would be a nice place to go to on the Orient Express. One day I will do it. I can't answer your questions about Cliff Richard's sexuality because I have no idea. Well, I think we know, but that's for him to say and others to find out. You like the Flying Scotsman? Well, my friends used to own the Flying Scotsman, the McAlpine family, and they saved the Flying Scotsman for the nation. So they did a wonderful job saving the wonderful train. Absolutely fabulous in their place. Have I ever met Rick Mail? No, I've never met Rick Mail, but he was a very amusing gentleman. Right. Right. You like Rory Stewart? Yes, Rory Stewart. I've only ever met him once. I met him in the street when he was considering being London mayor. He didn't do it, but I met him in the street in Pavilion Road, Knightsbridge, outside the Granger restaurant, and I had a nice chat with him. Nice man. I think he's a very, very intelligent man. My father is a huge fan of his because obviously he was an MP for near where my father lived, and he helped the princes. He was in Afghanistan. He did lots of good things. Rory Stewart, gentleman. Absolutely. Cheers to him. Tell us more about Cliff. I don't know what you want me to tell you about Cliff Richard, but I think we wait till Cliff, croaks. I think it's better. Do I like Anthony Hopkins? I've never met Anthony Hopkins, but I think he's a fantastic actor. I love The Remains of the Day. That's one of my absolutely great movies. I love that film. Him and Emma Thompson. What a wonderful, wonderful film. Absolutely brilliant. But written by Kazuhiro Ishiguro. I love that film. Absolutely the best. And I love him, all the films with him as Hannibal Lecter. He was fabulous. What an amazing actor. He's brilliant. Anthony Hopkins is a superb actor. So, yeah, I salute Anthony Hopkins. Yes. Did I ever meet Mohammed Al-Fayed? He's not to be given the honor of the name Al. My friend Christine Hamilton, who had her husband had a big court case against Fayed. He calls himself Al because Al means head of the family and he's senior. He was just a teacher. He was a nobody. He's a creep. The man was a disgrace. And look what he did. He abused 111 women that we know of already. This is how bad it's getting, that his own children are now turning on their own father because they're desperate to keep their money after daddy's dead. So, no. Fayed was one of the worst, and it's Fayed, not Al. So stop using Al. He wasn't the head of any family. He was a school teacher from Cairo. He was an absolute piece of work, and shame on him for what he did. And he used to go around giving out Viagra at parties, and every time I saw him, he'd be like, "Oh, it's some old person next to me. Have a bit of Viagra." And he thought it was funny. And everybody just had to laugh because he was this billionaire who owned this Harrods. He was just filthy. He was scum. So no, don't like Fayed. No, awful. Do I support a football team? No, I don't support any football team. I've talked about it before. My great uncle, my lovely Peter Howard, my great uncle was in the Munich air disaster. He was sports editor of the Daily Express. and he saved 3 of the players. He went back into the plane after he got thrown out into the snow, and he rescued them, and he saved their lives. So we do have an affinity with Manchester United, but I'm not interested in football. No. I'm not interested in rugby. I love horse racing. I love horses with a passion, and I love Cheltenham last week. I didn't get to bet because I don't have my silly VPN because I can't make it work, which is a very annoying thing in this bloody country. That's a very annoying thing. Do I think Lewis Hamilton is past his prime? I've never thought Lewis Hamilton was in his prime. I don't like Lewis Hamilton. Not a fan of Lewis Hamilton. He's just irritating. He's just one of these whinging vegan people. You look, if you want to be vegan, but he's just sorry. If you're going to be a racing driver, we don't need to know your views about your bloody if you eat lettuce. I'm so bored of hearing about him. He's absolutely dull. Right. What did I like watching on TV when I was a child? My favorite thing ever as a child, I'd have a whiskey and I'd watch age 7. I'd watched Miss Marple. I loved Miss Marple. That's my kind of thing. Absolutely. I loved the music. I love Joan Hickson playing Miss Marple. So I've said this many times before in any other thing I've done. Right. You think Lewis Hamilton is annoying? Yes, I totally agree. You having a whiskey as a child? Well, yes, so what? I'm not woke. I'll have whatever I want. Didn't do me any bloody harm. So there we go. You like Crown Court, says Pauline. Yes, well, that's nice. Owen Oyston was in that. He was a convicted rapist who was one of our neighbours. I did know Mr. Oyston as a child, but he ended up convicted as a rapist. He was not a nice man. Awful. You like Rumple of the Old Bailey? Okay, well, that's fair enough. That's a... do I like fishing? Yes, I used to go fly fishing, sea fishing, course fishing. I've done all kinds of fishing. The thing about me is I'm interested in everything. I just enjoy things, and I do them and I get involved. There we go. Owen Oyston ruined Blackpool. Yes, you're right there, Daniel. Owen Oyston wrecked Blackpool Football Club. Owen Oyston was a very creepy man. I knew him. That's how I met Robert Maxwell, in fact. Through him. Awful. Horrible, horrible man. A wicked media baron. He wasn't quite... He was the poor man's version of Robert Maxwell, I suppose. He was very successful. He owned Miss World. He owned radio stations, and then he went to prison for rape. He was a very wicked man. And his wife, Vicky, was even more bizarre because she married him. I think she definitely married him twice. I'm not sure if she married him 3 times. They got divorced and married repeatedly because of saving the business, basically. That was how they preserved everything, and that wasn't very pleasant. Yes, also mates with Cliff Richard. Yep. I think Owen was a friend of that. Have I got a tattoo? No, I don't possess a tattoo, and I'll never have one. I think tattoos are not for me. But if you wish to have a tattoo, good for you. You are entitled to do whatever you want to your body, but I would never, ever, ever do that to myself. My thoughts on Eric Bristow. I don't have a thought on Eric Bristow, sorry. Can't answer the question. You used to love Lovejoy. Yes, well, I love Lovejoy. And Lady Min loves Lovejoy. We like to watch the odd episode of Lovejoy. My friend was in Lovejoy. He was called Dudley Sutton. He was Tinker. Tinker in Lovejoy was my friend from the Chelsea Arts Club. So there we go. He was an absolutely delightful gentleman, kind-hearted and wonderful. So there's a positive. I like to have some positivity on my program as much as negativity. I know you all want to keep asking me questions about Cliff Bloody Richard, but Cliff Richard will save him for when he's dead, because he really is not my kind of person. Awful. Do I like the Xbox or PlayStation? I've never even used either thing, so no, can't have an opinion. There we go. I don't have an opinion on devices I never ever used. Have I ever met Miriam Margoylers or whatever she's called? No, and I don't want to meet her. I don't like her. I think she's very strange. Not my kind of person. I don't like her kind of horrible way of speaking. She's not a pleasant woman, that one. No, thank you. So I don't know why, Daniel, you ask. Do I like Gary Lineker? Oh, Gary Lineker, absolutely fabulous. I met him in Mayfair at a restaurant just around the corner from Claridge's, and I had a very good chat with him. I like Gary Lineker, yes. A man who's achieved, and he's doing extremely well with his podcast. Good for him. I think Gary Lineker, I give Gary Lineker the thumbs up. No, yes, you think that Miriam Margle, whatever she's called, Miriam Margle. She sounds like Meghan Markle, doesn't she? She's in the same league. She sounds vulgar, says Keeley, sorry. Yep, I don't like that Miriam Margoyles woman, Margoyle or whatever her name is. Awful. Oh, she makes me feel sick. She's so vulgar with her horrible lesbian language. She goes on and on and on. She's sick. Revolting. Which supermarket do I prefer? Well, if you had a choice of supermarket in England, it would be Waitrose or Marks and Spencer's, I suppose. Tesco is not that great. Sainsbury's is pretty lowbrow. But no, I'd rather go to independent shops. I support independent shops. I'd rather go and buy a pork pie from a producer who actually makes it. I'd rather do that than go to a supermarket. But if I had to go to a supermarket, I suppose Waitrose is probably the nicest supermarket of the supermarkets. But there we go. What are the shops like in France? Well, the supermarkets here are much better than the English ones. Fabulous. Very good. The bigger ones, the smaller ones, they're a disaster area. They're overpriced and the food is probably 5 years old. Awful. Do I speak fluent French? No, I don't. So I'm useless. You love cheese shops. Well, that's nice. I love a cheese shop too. Did I like Bergerac with John Nettles? Yes, I liked Bergerac. I remember I liked his Jaguar that he drove in that program. Nice car. Are the French rude? Well, some of them are, yes. Some of them are not. Some of them are very friendly, but some of them are bloody awful. But most of them are very nice. So there we go. Would you prefer to have dinner for Christmas or Easter? I don't know what that means, but you mean you'd have Christmas dinner or Easter dinner? I don't know what you mean. I'm sorry, I'm not understanding that. Have I ever been to Jersey? No, I've never been to Jersey. I have been to Guernsey. Yes, my family had connections with Guernsey, but we don't have any connections with Jersey, no. So no, I have never been to Jersey. Right. Claridge's or the Dorchester. Well, my choice would probably be Claridge's, to be honest, because of the lovely Paula Herbert, who is the PR for Claridge's. She's the most fabulous lady, and I love Paula. So, yeah, we'll say Claridge's. Right. Would I prefer dinner with Chris Eubank or breakfast with Sue Pye? I don't know who Sue Pye is. Sorry. Oh, Sue Pollard. Sue Pollard or Chris Eubank. Well, I've never met Sue Pollard, and I have been to dinner with Chris Eubank, so why not Sue Pollard for a bit of variety? Okay. Right. Do I like Elgar? Oh, I love Elgar. Elgar's music is fabulous. Absolutely wonderful. Love Elgar, yes. Bit of Elgar. Brahms, Bach, all sorts of things. I love classical music. I love all sorts of music. I love modern music. I love classical music. Right. Do I think Epstein's Island Black Book and Visitors will ever be fully released? Well, Gary, you've got it completely wrong. It's not Epstein's book. It's Ghislaine's book. Everyone in that book is down to Ghislaine. It's nothing to do with him. So, other than other than a few old bits of rubbish that he probably added, it's down to her. So it's her book. So, will it be released? Not under Donald Trump, because Donald Trump, it doesn't really suit his agenda, does it? Because it may cause him a few problems. There we go. Have I been to the Malverns where Elgar got his inspirations? I've never been to the Malverns. No, I haven't been there. Have you been to the Rosewood Hotel in Holborn? You got married there. It's beautiful. In case you haven't been, and the food is lovely, says Matt. Okay. I haven't been to the Rosewood Hotel in Holborn, no. But I did go to university at the London School of Economics, which is quite close to High Holborn. So I know where it is, but I've never been inside it, no. Right. You're surprised Ghislaine Maxwell has lasted as long as she has without a convenient prison suicide. Well, Ghislaine is not going to be killed, in my view, because it would be a little inconvenient to have a second one of them die. It would cause rather a lot of problems. So that would be an illogical thing to do, because it's just going to draw further attention to the matter. They are releasing the 80,000 files of the JFK assassination, okay, many years later. But look, we're not going to have Ghislaine Maxwell's suicide, and it's completely ridiculous. It's just not going to happen. So there we go. Have I ever been to Leicestershire? I believe I have. I'm not sure why I went to Leicestershire, but I believe I have been there. Have you been to the Scottish borders of Kelso? I have been to Kelso. I went to some kind of point-to-point or something in Kelso once, many, many years ago as a child, I believe. Is Chris Eubank mad? I would say definitely yes. He's awful. He's a very strange man. Very odd. Have I been to Bletchley Park? No, I've never been there. To lose one parent is unfortunate. To lose two, well, you're quoting Oscar Wilde. What do I think of Richard Archer? I don't know who is Richard Archer. If you mean Jeffrey Archer, I do know Jeffrey. He's a brilliant writer. He's an eccentric man, I will say, but he's a very brilliant writer. So there we go. Right. Who is worse, Epstein or Maxwell? Well, I would, of course, say Maxwell. Maxwell is the evil. Maxwell was in charge. Epstein was just a functionary. Epstein was got rid of because she needed saving. So there you go. Right. What do I think of Jeffrey Archer is the next question. Jeffrey Archer is a very intelligent man. Brilliant writer. I love his works. They're not literary brilliance, but they're enjoyable and easy to read. Wouldn't you agree, Lady Min?
Yeah.
We find them easy to read. It's whilst you're sitting around waiting for an aeroplane or a bus or something, it's the kind of book you can read. It's not the book you're going to read. It's going to change your life, but it's not a bad piece of work. There we go. Have I looked into Gene Hackman and his wife? Well, very sad what's happened to them, but it seems that their family didn't care about them, did it? That's awful. The fact that nobody cared about them enough to go and even check on them, awful. Shame on their family, I say. Can't leave people like that for days on end. Awful. Right. We haven't played table tennis. No. Have I ever met Mandela? No, I never met him. I did meet, of course, Desmond Tutu. Desmond Tutu came to visit us, and I was involved in a game of cricket, but that's a story for another day. So I have spent time with Desmond Tutu. But there we go. But never Mandela. No, I've never met him. No, and thank God I never met that awful woman, Winnie Mandela. She's a wicked bitch. What a horrible person she was. She was evil. She murdered people. Vile. She's like Hillary Clinton. She's up there with the sick people on the planet. Can't stand people like that. Hillary Clinton is one of the worst. So no, don't like that. Right. We're coming up to just over 2 hours now. It's time to probably say goodnight, but a few more questions. You can have another 5 minutes of questions. Let's think. Right. What's Hillary done? Well, we call her Killary, so that's all I shall say. Pool or snooker? I don't play either. Not really into those two games, but I like darts. I like Luke Littler. I think he's brilliant. I think he's changing the world. I love Luke Littler. Fabulous young man. Right. Right. Next one. Your degree is a Desmond Tutu. Yes. We know what that means. That's a good joke. Well done, Matt Grant. I like that. Hot chocolate or Ovaltine? I think I'd go for the hot chocolate, to be honest. But Hillary is a war hawk. Yes, she's not a nice lady. She's an unkind, horrible lady. Anything associated with Hillary ends with death. And I'm not talking about silence. She's not a nice lady, is old Hillary. Anyway, there we go. So I don't know if we've got any more questions, but if there are no more questions, I shall shortly end this program and say thank you very, very much. And thank you. Have a lovely evening. And take care, and we hope to see you all again soon. Sleep well, good night, and good gardening. Take care. Lots of love to all of you. You're all fabulous. You've been absolutely wonderful. And Lady Min says good night to Adam in particular. There we go. Take care. Good night. Bye bye.